Samsaradava nalalita loka Taranaya karuna kana kana tvam
Samsaradava naranita loka Pranaya karunya gana gana tvam
Praptasya kalyana kunarnavasya Vande Guroshi Charanaravindam
Praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindaṁ
Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Vaditramadhyam Manasora Sena Kirtana Nitya Gita Vaditramadhyam Manasora Romanchakam Pashutaranga Bhajo Vande Guroshi Charanaravindam Ranga Bhajo Vande Guroshi Charanaravindaṁ Shivikrahara Dhananitya Nana Shingara Tammantira Marjanado Dhananitya Nana Shingara Yutasya Bhaktan Chaniyunjatopi Vande Guroshi Charanaravindam Chaturvidhashi Bhagavat Prasada Swadvana Tripta Hari Bhakta Sangha Kritva Triptim Bhadatha Sadeva Vande Guroshi Charanaravindam Shiradhika Madhavayora Para Madhurya Lila Gunarupa Namnam Pratishana Satanalolupasya Vande Guroshi Charanaravindam Nikunja yuno ratikeli sitai Yayali pe yuktira pisaniya Tatrati dakshad ativallabhasya Vande Guroshi Charanaravindam Sashatharitena samasta shastre Uttasthatha bhavyateva sadvihi Kintu praboya priyeva tasya Vande Guroshi Charanaravindam Yasya prasada bhagavat prasado Yasya prasada nakati kutopi Bhagavat prasado Yasya prasada Dhyayantu Vamstasya Yashasti Santhyam Vande Guroshi Charanaravindam
Dhyayantu vam tasya yasasri sandhyam Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindaam
Vande Guroshi Charanaravindam Vande Guroshi Charanaravindam
Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindaam Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindaam
Nama Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine
Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Deshatarine
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Visatarini
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Nityananda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha, Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopa Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana, Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohana. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha, Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Nila Madhava Radha Nila Madhava Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Nila Madhava Radha Nila Madhava Shri Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Sudarshana. Jaya Sita Ram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Lakshmi Nara Singha, Jaya Lakshmi Nara Singha, Jaya Lakshmi Nara Singha, Jaya Lakshmi Nara Singha. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Om Shinu Bhada Pramhamsa Pajaka Acharya Shtota Shata Shishimati Divine Grace Aparchana Rinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBTPI Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Shinu Bhada Pramhamsa Pajaka Acharya Shtota Shata Shishimati Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Premise Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinatha Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Garadhan Ki Jai Shri Vrajabhumi Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Shri Purushottam Kshetra Jagampuri Dham Ki Jai Shri Ayodhya Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Samavrita Bhaktavinda Ki Jai, Harinama Sankirtana Ki Jai, Shri Bhishmashtami Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Praladadayine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilatanganakalaye. Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha. Yato yato yami tato Narsimha. Bahir Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha. Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye. Tavakara Kamalavare Naka Adbhuta Shringa Adalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare. Trita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare. Jaya Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Shri Radhe. Jayo Jagannatha Jayo Jagannatha Jayo Baladeva Jayo Subhadra. Jayo Sitaram, Jayo Sitaram, Jayo Sitaram, Jayo Lakshman Hanuman. Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha. Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai. Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vrindaya Tulasi Devaya Piyaya Keshava Sacha Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavadaya Namo Namaha.
Vrindaya Tulsi Devaya Priyaya Kesavasya Vishnu Devi Satyavadaya Namo Namaha.
Vrindaya Tulasi Devaya Piyaya Keshava Sacha Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavadaya Namo Namaha.
Vrindaya Tulsi Devaya Priyaya Kesavasya Vishnu Devi Satyavadaya Namo Namaha.
Vrindaya Tulasi Devaya Piyaya Keshava Sacha Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavadaya Namo Namaha.
Vrindaya Tulsi Devaya Priyaya Kesavasya Vishnu Devi Satyavadaya Namo Namaha.
Vrinda Devi Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai.
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रियसी नमो नमः नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रियसी नमो नमः राधा कृष्ण सेवा पाबो यही अभिलाषी राधा कृष्ण सेवा पाबो यही अभिलाषी जे तुम्हारा शरण लो तारा वंश पूर्ण हो कृपा कोरी करो तारे वृंदावन वासी मोरा यही अभिलाष विलास कुंज दियो वास नयन हरिबो सदा जुगल रूप राशि यही निवेदनाधार सखीरानुगाता करो सेवाधिकार दिए करो निज दासी दीना कृष्ण दासी कोई ये न मोरा होय श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये न भासी श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये न भासी नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रियसी नमो नमः यानि कानि चापानि ब्रह्म हत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पादे पादे यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पादे Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जय हो वृंदा देवी, जय हो वृंदा देवी, जय हो वृंदा देवी, जय हो वृंदा देवी, जय हो प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद, जय हो प्रभुपाद, जय हो गुरुदेव गुरुदेव गुरुदेव, जय हो गुरुदेव, जय हो वृंदा महारानी की जय हो.
वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय पियाय केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्तिपते देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः. वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय पियाय केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्तिपते देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः. वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय पियाय केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्तिपते देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः. वृंदा देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय. O Tulasi, beloved Krishna, I bow down before you again and again. My beloved, in the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you has wish fulfilled. Bestow mercy upon him and make him a resident of Vrindavan. My beloved, also grant me residence in the precious gold of Shri Vrindavan town. Thus within my wish I shall always behold the beautiful paths of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of Karhadanso's virtue. Please give me the privilege devotional service and make me your own maidservant. This very fallen lowly servant of Krishna prays. May I always swim in the love of Shri Radha and Govinda. Srimati Tulasi Maharani ki jai. There are 10 fancies in the matter chanting holy name that should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees who dedicate their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider the name of the demigods like Lord Shiva or Brahma to be equal to independent the name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature pursuant to Vedic version. 5. To consider glorious chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities and strength of chanting the holy name. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna when the auspicious ritualistic activities, offering the Veda, the fruity activities, karma, ganda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about glorious holy name. 10. To adopt complete faith in the chanting holy names, and to maintain mature attachment, even understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses. In order to quickly achieve desired success, Krishna, Prema. Now let us offer our most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just as I trees who can fulfill to everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Jeto Darpana Marjanam Pavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shriya Gairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavatu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purunamida Swadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuta Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha Etadishi Tavakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durudevami Disham Ihajanina Nurakaha Trinatapi Sunijena Tarorapi Saishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtanya Sataharihi Na Thanam Na Janam Na Sundarim Kavitam Vajakadisha Kamaye Mama Jammani Jammanishvare Bhavata Bhaktir Haituki Tavai Ayinanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sthita Duri Satesham Vichintaya Nayanam Garata Shrutaraya Vatanam Katkata Rudaya Kira Pulakai Nichitam Vapurukata Tava Nama Karhane Pavishati Yugaitam Nimishena Chakshusha Pravisha Itam Shunya Itam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahe Name Ashrisha Padaratam Pinnashtumam Adarshanam Marmahatam Karotuva Yatha Tatava Vitatatu Lampato Matprana Nathastu Seeva Naparaha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Glory to Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean transcendental bliss and enables to fully taste the nectar for which all is anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone grants all benediction to human beings. Thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, they vested all your transcendental energies. They are not even hard and far rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, our kindness enables us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I'm so unfortunate I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor to desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. Only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Marjananda Krishna, I'm your eternal servitor, yet somehow I fall in the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up for this ocean of death and place me as one Adam to your lotus feet. O my Lord, why my eyes bedeck with tears of love flowing constant when I chant your holy name? Why my voice choke up and hurts my body stand and the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling of separation, I'm constant moment to be like a great millennium. Tears are flowing from eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Shri Mangala Charna prayers ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Patakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahakana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pachadya Desha Tarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanivi Devi Daitaya Kripaptaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayine Prabhavin Namaha Madhuryo Jala Premadya Shri Rupa Nukha Bhaktita Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Muteye Dina Darine Rupa Nukha Virudapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Saksha Vairagya Muteye Vipalambara Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumistvam Nirtishta Sajanapriyaha Vaishnava Sarabhama Shri Jaganathayate Namaha Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishna Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Sratoro Pango Mamamanda Matergati Masarva Sapadam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Vindadana Kalpadumada Shimadra Nagara Singhasanasto Shrimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prishtaribi Sevyamano Smarami Shriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsi Vata Tatastitaha Karsham Venu Saner Gopir Gopinata Shiyestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishvari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Panamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Mangala Chanam prayers ki jai. Shri Parama Samhita ki jai. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadyaradya Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Parakara Satmasu Kalpaviksha Lakshariteshu Surabhi Rabi Palayantam Lakshmi Sahasa Shata Samprama Sevyamanam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kavanantam Aravinda Dalayatакшam Parharvatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Gandharpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chantaka Lasa Vanamada Vamshi Ranangadam Panayakiri Kalavilasam Shamam Tribanga Laditam Yatapakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pashanti Panti Karayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chimma Sadujala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achotam Anadi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastu Koti Shatavassara Sampragamyo Vayuratapi Manaso Muni Pangavanam Sopiasti Yapapata Simya Vichinta Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pachami Ekopya Sarachayitum Jagatanta Kotim Ya Chakti Rasti Jagatanta Chayaya Tantaha Antantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pachami Yad Bhava Pavita Diyo Manujastateva Samprapya Rupa Mahima Sanayana Bhushaha Suktaryam Eva Nigama Patitai Stuvanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pachami Ananda Chimmera Sapati Pavitapi Stapi Evan Jarupa Tayakalapihi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pachami Premanjana Churuta Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadeva Hitayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundar Machintya Guna Swarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pachami Ramadi Murtishu Kalanyamena Tishtan Nanavatarama Makaro Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhava Paramapumam Yo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pachami. Krishna, who is the Govinda, is the Supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin and is the prime cause of all causes. I worship Govinda, the primary Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending the cows, yielding all desire, in a bowl built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purple trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or gopis.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids.
I worship Govinda, the primary Lord, around whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers, beautified with a moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with a flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shama Sundar is eternally manifest. I worship Govinda, the primary Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal pure Purusa, yet he is the person possessing the beauty of blooming youth.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane, extending over thousands of millions of years.
He is the undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is the present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe. At once and the same time. So such is the primeval Lord whom I adore.
I adore the same Govinda, the primeval Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra suktas told by the Vedas, by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Golaka, with Radha, resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities in the company of her confident Sakis, a embodiment of the extensions of her bodily form, permitted and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shamasundara Krishna himself with inconceivable innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with the eye of devotion, tinged with the salve of love.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the form of Rama, Narasimha, Vamana, etc. as his subjective portions.
Sri Brahma Samhita ki jai. Bhagavad Gita 7.1. Bhagavad Gita 7.1 purport. Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punya sravana kirtanaha hridayanta histohi avadrani vidinoti suhrat satam nashta prayesva avadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki tada rajastamo bhava kama lobha zaya se chete ter anavidam sitam satve prasidati evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogatah bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate विद्यते हृदय ग्रंथिश्चिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशयाः क्षीयन्ते च कर्माणि दृष्टा एवात्मनीश्वरे. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him.
In this way, the devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By the development of the devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lust and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of the pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the signs of God perfectly.
Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of Asamsayam Samagram, understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Personality of Godhead. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam 1.2.17 to 21. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the signs of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. We'll continue reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Text 46. Panena te deva katha sudayaha pravradha bhaktya विसदाशयाये वैराग्यसारं प्रतिलभ्य बोधं यथाञ्जसान्वियुराकुण्ठदिष्ण्यां panena by drinking te of you deva of Lord, O Lord, katha topics sudayaha of the nectar, pravruddha highly enlightened, bhaktya by devotional service, visada ashaya with a greatly serious attitude, yea those who vairagya sharam the entire purport of renunciation, pratilabhya achieving bodham intelligence, yatha as much as, anjasa quickly, anviyuhu achieve, akunta dishnyam Vaikuntha Loka and the spiritual sky. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Lord, persons who, because of their serious attitude, attain the stage of enlightened devotional service, achieve the complete meaning of renunciation and knowledge, and attain the Vaikuntha Loka in the spiritual sky, simply by drinking the nectar of your topics. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The difference between the impersonalistic mental speculators and the pure devotees of the Lord is that the former pass through a miserable understanding of the absolute truth at every stage, whereas the devotees enter into the kingdom of all pleasures even from the beginning of their attempt. The devotee has only to hear about devotional activities, which are as simple as anything in ordinary life, and he also acts very simply, whereas the mental speculator has to pass through a jugglery of words, which are partially facts and partially a make show for the maintenance of an artificial impersonal status. In spite of his strenuous efforts to attain perfect knowledge, the impersonalist attains merging into the impersonal oneness of the Brahmajyoti of the Lord, which is also attained by the enemies of the Lord simply because of their being killed by him. The devotees, however, attain to the highest stage of knowledge and renunciation and achieve the Vaikuntha Lokas, the planets in the spiritual sky. The impersonalist attains only the sky and does not achieve any tangible transcendental bliss, whereas the devotee attains to the planets where real spiritual life prevails. With a serious attitude, the devotee throws away all achievements like so much dust, and he accepts only devotional service, the transcendental culmination. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Text 47. Tata pare chatma samadhi yoga balena jitva prakritim balistham tvam eva dhiram purusham vishanti tesham sramasayannatu sevayatu. Tata, as far as apare, others, cha, also, atma samadhi, transcendental self-realization, yoga means balena, by the strength of, jitva, conquering, prakritim, acquired nature or modes of nature, balistam, very powerful, tvam, you, eva, only, dhira, pacified, purusham, person, vishanti, enters into, tesham, for them, srama, much labor, syat, has to be taken, na, never, to, but, sevaya, by serving, te, of you. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Others who are pacified by means of transcendental self-realization have conquered over the modes of nature by dint of strong power and knowledge also enter into you. But for them there is much pain, whereas the devotee simply discharges devotional service and thus feels no such pain. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In terms of labor of love and its returns, the bhaktas or devotees of the Lord always have priority over persons who are addicted to the association of jnanis or impersonalists and yogis and mystics. The word apare, others, is very significant in this connection. Others refers to the jnanis and the yogis whose only hope is to merge into the existence of the impersonal Brahmajyoti. Although their destination is not so important in comparison to the destination of the devotees, the labor of the non-devotees is far greater than that of the bhaktas. One may suggest that there is sufficient labor for the devotees also in the matter of discharging devotional service, but that labor is compensated by the enhancement of transcendental pleasure. The devotees derive more transcendental pleasure while engaged continuously in the service of the Lord than when they have no such engagement. In the family combination of a man and woman, there is much labor and responsibility for both of them. Yet when they are single, they feel more trouble for want of their united activities. The union of the impersonalist and the union of the devotees are not on a par. The impersonalists try to fully stop their individuality by attaining sayujma mukti or unification by merging into oneness, whereas the devotees keep their individuality to exchange feelings in relationship with the Supreme Individual Lord. Such a reciprocation of feelings takes place in the transcendental Vaikuntha planets, and therefore the liberation sought by the impersonalist is already achieved in devotional service. The devotees attain mukti automatically while continuing the transcendental pleasure of maintaining individuality. As explained in the previous verse, the destination of the devotees is Vaikuntha or Akunta Dishna, the place where anxieties are completely eradicated. One should not mistake the destination of the devotees and that of the impersonalists to be one and the same. The destinations are distinctly different, and the transcendental pleasure derived by the devotee is also distinct from chin matra or spiritual feelings alone. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Text 48. Tatte vayam loka sisriksayadhyam tyayanunusrutastribhir atma bihisma sarve viyukta svavihara tantram nasaknumastat pratihartavete tat. Therefore, te, your, vayam, all of us, loka, world, sisriksaya, for the sake of creation, adhya, O original person, tvaya, by you, anushrutaha, being created one after another, tribihi, by the three modes of nature, atmabihi, by one's own, sma, in the past, sarve, all, viyukta, separated, swavihara tantram, the network of activities for one's own pleasure, na, not, saknumaha, could do it, tad, that, pratihartave, to award, te, unto your. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O original person, we are therefore but yours only. Although we are your creatures, we are born one after another under the influence of the three modes of nature, and for this reason we are separated in action. Thereafter, after the creation, we could not act concertedly for your transcendental pleasure. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The cosmic creation is working under the influence of three modes of the external potency of the Lord. Different creatures are also under the same influence, and therefore they cannot act according concertedly in satisfying the Lord. Because of this diverse activity, there cannot be any harmony in the material world. The best policy, therefore, is to act for the sake of the Lord. That will bring about the desired harmony. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Text 49.
यावद्बलिं तेजहरामकाले यदा वयं चानम् अधामयत्रा यतो भयेशं तैमहि लोके बलिं हरन्तन्न मदन्ति अनुहाः. Yavat, as it may be, Balim offerings they your Aja, O unborn one, Harama, Shilafar, Kale, at the right time, Yada, as much as Vayam, we, Cha, also Annam, food grains, Adama, shall partake, Yatra, whereupon Yada, as much as Ubayesham, both for you and for us, Te all, Ime, these, he, certainly, Loka, living entities, Balim, offerings, Harantaha, while offering Annam, grains, Adanti, eat, Anuhaha, without disturbance. Translation. O unborn one, please enlighten us regarding the ways and means by which we can offer you all enjoyable grains and commodities so that both we and all other living entities in this world can maintain ourselves without disturbance and can easily accumulate the necessities of life both for you and for ourselves. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Developed consciousness begins from the human form of life and further increases in the forms of the demigods living in higher planets. The earth is situated almost in the middle of the universe, and the human form of life is the via medium between the life of the demigods and that of the demons. The planetary systems above the earth are especially meant for the higher intellectuals called demigods. They are called demigods because although their standard of life is far more advanced in culture, enjoyment, luxury, beauty, education, and duration of life, they are always full God consciousness. Such demigods are always ready to render service to the Supreme Lord because they are perfectly aware of the fact that every living entity is that it is the Lord who can maintain all living entities with all the necessities of life. The Vedic hymns Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kama Tainam Abhruvan Ayatanam Nah Prajanihi Yasmin Pratista Annam Adame, etc. confirm this truth. In Bhagavad Gita also the Lord is mentioned as Bhutabhrut, or the maintainer of the all living creatures. The modern theory that starvation is due to an increase in the population is not accepted by the demigods or the devotees of the Lord. The devotees or demigods fully aware that the Lord can maintain any number of living entities provided they are conscious of how to eat. If they want to eat like ordinary animals who have no God consciousness, then they must live in starvation, poverty, and want, like the jungle animals in the forest. The jungle animals are also maintained by the Lord with their respective foodstuffs, but they are not advanced in God consciousness. Similarly, human beings are provided with food grains, vegetables, fruits, and milk by the grace of the Lord, but it is the duty of human beings to acknowledge the mercy of the Lord. As a matter of gratitude, they should feel obliged to the Lord for their supply of foodstuff, and they must first offer Him food in sacrifice and then partake of the remnants. In Bhagavad Gita 3.13, it is confirmed that one who takes foodstuff after a performance of sacrifice eats real food for proper maintenance of the body and soul, but one who cooks for himself and does not perform any sacrifice eats only lumps of sin in the shape of foodstuffs. Such sinful eating can never make one happy or free from scarcity. Famine is not due to an increase in population, as less intelligent economists think. When human society is grateful to the Lord for all His gifts for the maintenance of the living entities, then there is certainly no scarcity or want in the society. But when men are unaware of the intrinsic value of such gifts from the Lord, surely they are in want. A person who has no God consciousness may live in opulence for the time being due to his past virtuous acts, but if one forgets his relationship with the Lord, certainly he must await the stage of starvation by the law of the powerful material nature. One cannot escape the vigilance of the powerful material nature unless he leads a God consciousness or devotional life.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Text 15. Tvam na suranam asi sanvayanam kutasta adhya purusha puranaha tvam deva sakyam gunakarma yonau retastva ajayam kavim adhadeja. Tvam, your lordship, naha, of us, Suranam, of the demigods, Asi, you are, Sa Anvayanam, with different gradations, Kutashta, one who is unchanged, Adhya, without any superior, Purusha, the founder person, Purana, the oldest, who has no other founder, Tvam, you, Deva, O Lord, Satyam, unto the energy, Gunakarma Yonav, unto the cause of the material modes and activities, Reta, semen of birth, Tu, indeed, Ajayam, for begetting, Kavim, the total living entities, Adhade, initiated, Ajaha, one who is unborn. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. You are the original person, founder of all the demigods and the orders of different gradations. Yet you are the oldest and are unchanged. O Lord, you have no source or superior. You have impregnated the eternal energy with the semen of the total living entities. Yet you are unborn. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Lord, the original person, is the father of all other living entities. Beginning from Brahma, the personality from whom all other living entities in different gradations of species are generated. Yet the Supreme Father has no other father. Every one of the living entities of all grades up to Brahma, the original creator of the universe, is begotten by a father. But he, the Lord, has no father. When he descends on the material plane, out of his causeless mercy, he accepts one of his great devotees as his father to keep pace with the rules of the material world. But since he is the Lord, he is always independent in choosing who will become his father. For example, the Lord came out of a pillar in his incarnation as Nrsimhadeva, and by the Lord's causeless mercy, Ahalya came out of a stone by the touch of the lotus feet of his incarnation as Lord Sri Rama. He is also the companion of every living entity as the super soul, but he is unchanged. The living entity changes his body in the material world, but even when the Lord is in the material world, he is ever unchanged. That is his prerogative. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14.3, the Lord impregnates the external or material energy, and thus the living entities later come out in different gradations, beginning from Brahma, the first demigod, down to the insignificant ant. All gradations of living entities are manifested by Brahma and the external energy. But the Lord is the original father of everyone. The relationship of every living being with the Supreme Lord is certainly one of son and father, and not one of equality. Sometimes in sometimes in love the son is more than the father. In love the son is more than the father. But the relationship of father and son is one of the superior and the other and the subordinate. Every living entity, however great he may be, even up to demigods like Brahma and Indra, is an eternally subordinate servitor of the Supreme Father. The Mahat Tattva principle is the generating source of all the modes of material nature, and the living entities take birth in the material world in bodies supplied by the mother material nature in terms of their previous work. The body is a gift of supreme material nature, but the soul is originally part and parcel of the Supreme Lord.
Text 51. Tado vayam mad pramukayadardhe babu vimatman karavamakimte tvam nashvachakshu baridehi shaktya deva kriyade yadanu grahanam. Tada, therefore, Vayam, all of us, Mat Pramuka, coming from the total cosmos, the Mahatattva, yatarde, for the purpose of which Babu Vima created Atman, O Supreme Self. Karavama shall do, Kim what? The your service, Tvam yourself, Nah to us, Swachakshu personal plan, Paridehi specifically grants us, Shaktya with potency to work, Deva, O Lord, Kriyarde for acting, Yat from which, Anugrahanam of those who are specifically favored. Translation: O Supreme Self, please give us who are created in the beginning from the Mahatattva, the total cosmic energy, your kind directions on how we shall act. Kindly award us your perfect knowledge and potency so that we can render you service in the different departments of subsequent creation. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Lord creates this material world and impregnates the material energy with the living entities who will act in the material world. All these actions have a divine plan behind them. The plan is to give the conditioned soul who so desire a chance to enjoy sense gratification. But there is another plan behind the creation, to help the living entities realize that they are created for the transcendental sense gratification of the Lord and not for their individual sense gratification. This is the constitutional position of the living entities. The Lord is one without a second, and He expands Himself into many for His transcendental pleasure. All the expansions, the Vishnu Tattvas, the Jiva Tattvas, and the Shakti Tattvas, the personalities of Godhead, the living entities, and the different potential energies are different offshoots from the same one Supreme Lord. The Jiva Tattvas are separated expansions of the Vishnu Tattvas, and although there are potential differences between them, they are all meant for the transcendental sense gratification of the Supreme Lord. Some of the Jivas, however, wanted to lord it over material nature in imitation of the lordship of the personality of Godhead. Regarding when and why such propensities overcame the pure living entities, it can only be explained that the Jiva Tattvas have infinitesimal independence, and that due to misuse of this independence, some of the living entities have become implicated in the conditions of cosmic creation and are therefore called Nityabadhas or eternally conditioned souls. The expansion of Vedic wisdom also gives the Nityabadhas, the conditioned living entities, a chance to improve, and those who take advantage of such transcendental knowledge gradually regain their lost consciousness of rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord. The demigods are amongst the conditioned souls who have developed this pure consciousness of service to the Lord, but who at the same time continue to desire to lord it over the material energy. Such mixed consciousness puts a conditioned soul in the position of managing the affairs of this creation. The demigods are entrusted leaders of the conditioned soul, as some of the old prisoners in government jails are entrusted with some responsible work of prison management. So the demigods are improved conditioned souls acting as representatives of the Lord in the material creation. Such demigods are devotees of the Lord in the material world, and when completely free from all material desire to lord it over the material energy, they become pure devotees and have no desire but to serve the Lord. Therefore, any living entity who desires a position in the material world may desire so in the service of the Lord, and may seek power and intelligence from the Lord, as exemplified by the demigods in this particular verse. One cannot do anything unless he is enlightened and empowered by the Lord. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita 15.15, Mahat smritir gnanam apohanam cha. All recollections, knowledge, etc., as well as all forgetfulness, are engineered by the Lord, who is sitting within the heart of everyone. The intelligent man seeks the help of the Lord, and the Lord helps the sincere devotees engaged in his multifarious services. The demigods are entrusted by the Lord to create a different species of living entities according to their past deeds. They are herein asking the favor of the Lord for the intelligence and power to carry out their tasks. Similarly, any conditioned soul may also engage in the service of the Lord under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, and thus gradually become freed from the entanglement of material existence. The spiritual master is the manifested representative of the Lord, and anyone who puts himself under the guidance of a spiritual master and acts accordingly is said to be acting in terms of Buddhi Yoga, as explained in Bhagavad Gita 2.41. व्यवसायत्मक बुद्धिर एके हे कुरु नंदना बहुशाखा ही अनंतश्चा बुद्धयो अव्यवसायिनम. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, fifth chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Vidura's Talks with Maitreya.
He gave me 84 things.
Because you are overcome by fear.
It's 14, 14, 14, 14, everything.
Either you are overcome by fear or laziness.
I'm not reading.
You have positive consequences of this.
I was doing my math, but I'm not reading.
You have positive consequences of
I'm
this.
not reading. I'm doing my math.
Chapter 6, Creation of the Universal Form. Text 1. Rishiruvacha Iditasam swashaktinam satinam asametyasaha prasuptalokatantranam nisamya gatimishvaraha. Rishiruvacha, the Rishi Maitreya said, iti thus, Thasham, there, Swasaktinam, own potency, Satinam, so situated, Asametya, without combination, Sahi, the Lord, Prasupta, suspended, Lokatantranam, in the universal creation, Nisamya, hearing, Gatim, progress, Ishvara, the Lord. Translation, the Rishi Maitreya said, the Lord thus heard about the suspension of the progressive creative functions of the universe due to the non-combination of his potencies, such as the Mahat Tattva. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. There is nothing wanting in the creation of the Lord. All potencies are there in a dormant state. But unless they are combined by the will of the Lord, nothing can progress. The suspended progressive work of creation can only be revived by the direction of the Lord. Text 2. Khalasanyam tadadevim bibrachaktim urukramaha trayo vimshati tattvanam ganam yugapad avisat. Kalasanyam, known as Kali, Tada, at that time, Devim, the goddess, Bibrat, destructive, Shaktim, potency, Urukramaha, the supreme powerful, Trayaha Vimsati, 23, Tattvanam, of the elements, Ganam, all of them, Yugapat, simultaneously, Avishat, entered. The supreme powerful Lord then simultaneously entered into the 23 elements with the goddess Kali, his external energy, who alone amalgamates all the different elements. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The ingredients of matter are counted as 23. The total material energy, false ego, sound, touch, form, taste, smell, earth, water, fire, air, sky, eye, ear, nose, tongue, skin, hand, leg, evacuating organ, genitals, speech, and mind, all are combined together by the influence of time and are again dissolved in the course of time. Time, therefore, is the energy of the Lord and acts in her own way by the direction of the Lord. This energy is called Kali and is represented by the dark, destructive goddess generally worshipped by persons influenced by the mode of darkness or ignorance in the material existence. In the Vedic hymn, this process is described as Mula Prakritir, Avikritir, Avikirtir, Kritir, Mahadadyaha, Prakriti, Viktayah, Sapta, Soda Sakastu, Vikarona, Prakritirna, Vikirti Purusha. The energy which acts as material nature in a combination of 23 ingredients is not the final source of creation. The Lord enters into the elements and applies his energy called Kali. In all other Vedic scripture, the same principle is accepted. In Brahma Samhita, it is stated 5.35 Ekopi asau rachaitam jagatanda kotim yachaktirasti jagatanda chaya yadanta andantarasta paramanu chayantarastam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who is the original personality of Godhead. By his partial plenary expansion, Mahavishnu, he enters into material nature and then into each and every universe as Garbhodakasaya Vishnu and then as Kshirodakasaya Vishnu into all elements, including every atom of matter. Such manifestations of cosmic creation are innumerable, both in the universes and in the individual atoms. Similarly, this is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 10.42. Atava bahu naitena kim gnatena tavajina vistabhyaham idam krishnam ekam shena sito jagat. O Arjuna, there is no necessity of your knowing about my innumerable energies, which act in various ways. I enter into the material creation by my partial plenary expansion, Paramatma, the Super Soul, in all the universes and in all the elements thereof. And thus, the work of creation goes on. The wonderful activities of material nature are due to Lord Krishna, and thus he is the final cause or the ultimate cause of all causes. Text 3. So anupravisto bhagavam chesta rupena tam ganam Binnam samyojayam asha suptam karma prabodhayan. Sah, that anupravistaha, thus entering later on, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, chesta rupena, by his representation of attempt, Kali, tam, them, Ganam, all the living entities, including the demigods, Binnam, separately, Samyojayam Asha, engaged to work, Suptam, sleeping, Karma, work, Prabodhayan, enlightening. Translation. Thus, when the personality of Godhead entered into the elements by his energy, all the living entities were enlivened into different activities, just as one is engaged in his work after awakening from sleep. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Every individual soul remains unconscious after the dissolution of the creation and thus enters into the Lord and with his material energy. These individual living entities are conditioned souls everlastingly, but in each and every material creation they are given a chance to liberate themselves and become free souls. They are all given a chance to take advantage of the Vedic wisdom and find out what is their relationship with the Supreme Lord, how they can be liberated, and what the ultimate profit is in such liberation. By properly studying the Vedas, one becomes conscious of his position and thus takes to the transcendental devotional service of the Lord and is gradually promoted to the spiritual sky. The individual souls in the material world engage in different activities according to their past unfinished desires. After the dissolution of a particular body, the individual soul forgets everything. But the all merciful Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart, as the witness, the super soul, awakens him and reminds him of his past desires. Thus, he begins to act accordingly in his next life. This unseen guidance is described as a fate, and a sensible man can understand that this continues his material bondage in the three modes of nature. The unconscious sleeping stage of the living entity, just after the partial or total dissolution of the creation, is wrongly accepted as the final stage of life by some less intelligent philosophers. After the dissolution of the partial material body, a living entity remains unconscious for only a few months, and after the total dissolution of the material creation, he remains unconscious for many millions of years. But when the creation is again revived, he is awakened to his work by the Lord. The living entity is eternal, and the wakeful state of his consciousness manifested by activities is his natural condition of life. He cannot stop acting while awake, and thus he acts according to his diverse desires. When his desires are trained in the transcendental service of the Lord, his life becomes perfect, and he is promoted to the spiritual sky to enjoy eternal awakened life. Text 4, Canto 3, Chapter 6. प्रबुद्धकर्मदैवेन त्रयोविंशतिको गणाः प्रेरितो जनयत्स्वाभिर्मात्राभिरदि अधिपुरुषम्. Prabuddha, awakened karma activities, daivena, by the will of the Supreme, Traya, Vimshatikaihi, by the 23 principal ingredients, Gana, the combination, Preritaha, induced by, Avjanayat, manifested, Swabhi, by his personal, Matrabhi, plenary expansion, Adipurusham, the gigantic universal form Vishwarupa. Translation. When the 23 principal elements were set in action by the will of the Supreme, the gigantic universal form, or the Vishwarupa body of the Lord, came into existence. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Virat Rupa or Vishwarupa, or the gigantic universal form of the Lord, which is very much appreciated by the impersonalist, is not an eternal form of the Lord. It is manifested by the supreme will of the Lord after the ingredients of material creation. Lord Krishna exhibited this Virat or Vishwarupa to Arjuna just to convince the impersonalist that he is the original personality of Godhead. Krishna exhibited the Virat Rupa. It is not that Krishna was exhibited by the Virat Rupa. The Virat Rupa is not therefore an eternal form of the Lord exhibited in the spiritual sky. It is a material manifestation of the Lord. The Archa Vigraha, or the worshipable deity in the temple, is a similar manifestation of the Lord for the neophytes. But in spite of their material touch, such forms of the Lord as the Virat and Archa are all not different from his eternal form as Lord Krishna. Text 5. Canto 3, Chapter 6. Parena vishata swasmin matraya vishwashruganaha chaksho banyonyam asadya yasmin lokas characharaha. Parena, by the Lord, vishata, thus entering, swasmin, by his own self, matraya, by a plenary portion, Vishwashrug, the elements of universal creation, Ganaha, all, Chukshobha, transformed, Anyonyam, one another, Asadya, having attained, Yasmin, in which, Lokaha, the planets, Characharaha, movable and immovable. Translation. As the Lord in his plenary portion entered into the elements of the universal creation, they transformed into gigantic form in which all the planetary systems and all movable and immovable creations rest. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The elements of cosmic creation are all matter and have no potency to increase in volume unless entered into by the Lord in His plenary portion. This means that matter does not increase or decrease unless it is spiritually touched. Matter is a product of spirit and increases only by the touch of the spirit. The entire cosmic manifestation has not assumed its gigantic form by itself, as wrongly calculated by less intelligent person. As long as spirit is within matter, matter can increase as needed, but without the spirit, matter stops increasing. For example, as long as there is spiritual consciousness within the material body of a living entity, the body increases to the required size, but a dead material body which has no spiritual consciousness stops increasing. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, importance is given to the spiritual consciousness, not the body. The entire cosmic body increased by the same process that we experience in our small bodies. One should not, however, foolishly think that the individual infinitesimal soul is the cause of the gigantic manifestation of the universal form. The universal form is called the Virat Rupa because the Supreme Lord is within it in his plenary portion. Text 6, Canto 3, Chapter 6. Hiranmaya sa purusha sahasra parivatsaran andalkosha vasaput sarvasatvo paribhramitaha. Hiranmaya, the Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, who also assumed the Virat Rupa, Sahi, Purusha, incarnation of Godhead, Sahasra, 1000, Parivatsaran, celestial years, Andakoshe, within the globe universe, Uvasa resided, Apsu, on the water, Sarvasattva, all living entities lying with him, Upabrahmitaha, to so spread. Translation. The gigantic Virat Purusha, known as Hiranmaya, lived for 1000 celestial years on the water of the universe, and all the living entities lay with him. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. After the Lord entered each and every universe as Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, half of the universe was filled with water. The cosmic manifestation of the planetary systems, outer space, etc., which are visible to us, is only one half of the complete universe. Before the manifestation takes place, and after the entrance of Vishnu within the universe, there is a period of 1000 celestial years. All the living entities injected within the womb of the Mahat Tattva divided in all universes with the incarnation of Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, and all of them lie down with the Lord until Brahma is born. Brahma is the first living being within the universe, and from him all of the demigods and living creatures are born. Manu is the original father of mankind, and therefore in Sanskrit mankind is called Manushya. Humanity in different bodily qualities is distributed throughout the various planetary systems. Text 7. Savai Vishwasrujam Garbo Deva Karmatma Shaktiman Vibhabajatmanatmanam Ekada Dashada Thrida. Sah, that, why, certainly. Vishwasrujam, of the gigantic Virat form. Garbha, total energy. Deva, living energy. Karma, activity of life. Atma, self. Shaktiman, full with potencies. Vibhaja, divided. Atmana, by himself. Atmanam, himself. Ekada, in oneness. Dashada, in 10. Trida, and in 3. Translation. The total energy of the Mahat Tattva in the form of gigantic Virat Rupa divided himself by himself into the consciousness of the living entities, the life of activity and self identification, which are subdivided into 1, 10, and 3 respectively. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Consciousness is a sign of the living entity or the soul. The existence of the soul is manifest in the form of consciousness called Gnana Shakti. The total consciousness is that of the gigantic Virat Rupa, and the same consciousness is exhibited in individual person. The activity of consciousness is performed through the air of life, which is of 10 division. The airs of life are called prana, apana, udana, vyana, and samana, and are also differently qualified as naga, kurma, krikara, devadatta, and dhananjaya. The consciousness of the soul becomes polluted by the material atmosphere, and thus various activities are exhibited in the false ego of bodily identification. These various activities are described in Bhagavad Gita 2.41 as Bahushaka hi Anantascha Buddhayo Abhyavasayanam. The conditioned soul is bewildered into various activities for want of pure consciousness. In pure consciousness, the activity is one. The consciousness of the individual soul becomes one with the supreme consciousness when there is complete synthesis between the two. The monist believes that there is only one consciousness, whereas the Sattvatas or the devotees believe that although there is undoubtedly one consciousness, they are one because there is agreement. The individual consciousness is advised to dovetail with the supreme consciousness, as instructed by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita 18.66. Sarvadhamman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. The conditioned consciousness, Arjuna, is advised to dovetail with the supreme consciousness and thus maintain his conscious purity. It is foolish to try to stop the activities of consciousness, but they can be purified when they are dovetailed with the supreme. This consciousness is divided into 3 modes of self-identification according to the proportion of purity. Adhyatmika, or self-identification with the body and mind. Adibhautika, or self-identification with the material products. And Adidaivika, or self-identification as a servant of the Lord. Of the 3, Adidaivika, self-identification, is the beginning of purity of consciousness in pursuance of the desire of the Lord. Text 8. Can you get it ready? Esha hi asesha sattvanam atma shaha paramatmana adyovataro yatrasu bhudagramo vibhajyate. Esha, this he certainly, asesha, unlimited, sattvanam, living entities, atma, self, amsaha, part, paramatmana, of the super soul, adyaha, the first avatara, incarnation, yatra, whereupon, asau, all those, bhutagrama, the aggregate reaction, vibhavyate, the flourish. Translation: the gigantic universal form of the Supreme Lord is the first incarnation and plenary portion of the Super Soul. He is the self of unlimited number of living entities, and in him rests the aggregate creation which thus flourishes. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Supreme Lord expands himself in 2 ways: by personally plenary expansion and separated minute expansion. The personal plenary expansions are Vishnu Tattvas, and the separated expansions are living entities. Since the living entities are very small, they are sometimes described as the marginal energy of the Lord. But the mystic yogis consider the living entities and the super soul, Paramatma, to be one and the same. It is, however, a minor point of controversy. After all, everything created rests on the gigantic Virat or universal form of the Lord. Today we read up to Canto 3, Chapter 6, Text 8. We'll continue reading tomorrow. Gandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. We'll continue to Guru Puja now. Ashwin. बंधमुई सावधान माते जय हर प्रसादे बाय हे बाबा तुरिया जय कृष्ण प्राप्ति हो जह होते गुरुमुख पद्मा वाक्या चिठिते कोरिया क्या हरना कोरी हो मानी आशा श्री गुरु जेरा रति ऐसे उताबागति जय प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा यक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाशा जाते वेदे गाय जहरा चरितो श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदामा जैनारा बंधु लोकानाथ लोकेरा जीवाना राह प्रभु को रोदो या देह मोरे पादा चाया Ibijas gusuk tribuvana Ila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Ya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा नमः ओम विष्णु विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामिन्यिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nityai Gaura Hari Bol. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He is my... Yes. Abhi, what's next? is
The Lotus Fever of spiritual master is the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of mature suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish that consciousness is purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet, the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth.
from him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. We take the shelter of your lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Abhi, the reason I moved you is you are reading too fast. You are feeling it now. This is not show off.
I know, but if I read slow, I'm going to lose all my lines. I memorized the thing, but the thing is, if I don't, I'm used to being kind of serious.
No, these are all excuses. You can do it.